US President Joe Biden has had a direct 2-hour phone hookup with the leader of Communist China, Xi Jinping. Now, this is pretty important, this call, because Biden had to reassure Xi that US policy on Taiwan had not changed, and reports tell us that China warned Joe Biden to make sure that that is indeed the case.
And on Taiwan, President Biden underscored that the United States policy has not changed and that the United States strongly opposes unilateral efforts to change the status quo or undermine peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait.
This is pretty dicey stuff, with US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi reportedly planning a trip to Taiwan, which Beijing is bound to see as very, very provocative. The trouble is, of course, now the trip has been flagged, surely Pelosi has to go, or else Washington is going to be seen as being pushed around by Beijing. This is the strategic contest of our lifetime, and our former Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, actually has bought into the issue overnight. I'll have more on that later in the program. But when it comes to the US and the presidential call, this is altogether shambolic, weak and worrisome diplomacy, isn't it? Which I guess is all of a piece with the Biden presidency. And it comes as the former White House medico has repeated his calls for the president to submit to a cognitive test, this time with a lot of support in Congress. Here's Maddie Hale reporting for Sky News Online.
Well, 3 times a charm for Ronnie Jackson, who has again attempted to call on the president to take a cognitive exam. The former White House doctor turned Texas congressman has written a 3rd letter to Joe Biden requesting him to submit a cognitive test immediately. But this time he has the backing of 53 US lawmakers, all Republicans, who have signed the letter in solidarity. The letter reads, "We believe that regardless of gender, age or political party, the president should follow the example set by former President Trump to document and demonstrate sound mental abilities." The letter notes that while Joe Biden did undergo a physical exam in November, he did not face a cognitive test, or if he did, the results were not made public.
Yeah, or maybe he did the test and he's forgotten about it already. Yeah, wouldn't it be interesting to know if he did the test and they haven't made it public? This is a pretty disturbing situation. Biden is clearly flailing at times, and polls show that most of America is worried about the job he's doing and his ability to do it. Yet the ridiculous state of affairs is that the president and his team continue to insist that he'll run for a 2nd term. Clearly he won't. Clearly he can't. But they can't afford to say that in the first half of his first term, because it will be an admission that he's not up to the job.